Damn it, romance anime. You got me again. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here today with another Patreon anime review. This time I'll be reviewing the romance anime Boys B, as requested by Patreon supporter Ivan. Now, Boys B is a rather interesting and very refreshing romance anime in the fact that it doesn't just follow one solo romance story or even one guy as he romances many chicks. It's actually about a variety of characters, their experiences with love, and their blooming romances. I mean, you could make the argument that there is a main love story in the anime following the character of Koichi and his love for his childhood best friend Chiharu, as that one does get the most focus and attention throughout the entire anime, but it's not always the main focus of the anime. Other stories do take center stage from time to time. Now, me personally, never heard of Boys B until Ivan requested me to watch it a month ago. But in a message that Ivan sent me, he told me that the anime was a romance anime, and you all know how I feel about romance anime. So it got me really curious to check it out. And so I finally watched the entirety of the series, and all I have to say is, what the hell took me so long to watch this anime? I mean, honestly guys, besides the weak start and poor animation, which can be attributed to the time that it was made, so I won't hold it against it, this might be one of the best romance animes I've ever seen. It definitely is one of the most refreshing and unique romance animes I've ever seen. And what made it so great and refreshing is, as I stated before, this anime doesn't just focus on one solitary romance story, or even just one guy as he forms relationships and bonds with various girls and he builds kind of pseudo romances with each of them and then he picks one at the very end. No! This anime actually focuses on various love stories with various characters, and almost each and every one of them were well done, convincing, dynamic, likable, and touching. I mean, there are so many romance stories in this anime that just could be their own standalone stories, like have their own animes that focuses solely on them, and I would love them to death. And nearly every single character that was the main focus of the individual romance stories throughout the anime were good. They were likable, they were charming, they had their own unique personalities, and they got a lot of good development. We learned so much about these characters, like what drives them, what motivates them, what's their passions, what do they want in life, and this leads to them forming organic relationships with their love interests, forming a really strong and dynamic chemistry. There is though one relationship in the anime that I never bought, and I know I was supposed to buy it, but I just never did, and I'll get to that a little later. Another pivotal element that makes this anime stand out so much is the direction that they took with the main romance story focusing on Koichi and his love for his childhood best friend, Chiharu. The directions that they take with the story are so fascinating. They take so many twists, turns, and risks. I don't want to give it all away, but let me just say that it is one of the most interesting directions with a romance story I've seen in a romance anime, and I love what they did. I'll say this about their romance: it's not all good times. The music that plays in this anime is serene and lovely, very befitting for a romance anime. And as for the voice acting, while I didn't get a chance to hear the Japanese cast, I did hear the English cast for this anime, and I won't deny it, I was a bit hesitant to try the English dub as it wasn't done by Funimation, it was done by The Right Stuff, and I've heard some of their dubs in the past, they weren't all that good, so I was a little hesitant to check it out. But after watching the English dub, I will say most of the voice actors, they did pretty well with their performances, but there were some that were kind of the strays, the one that didn't do so well. But you had some heavy hitters providing voices in this anime. I mean, you have Liam O'Brien, you got Michelle Ruff, you got Stephanie Sheh, I think that's how you say her name, but she went by a different name in this anime. And even Wendy Lee, Haru Suzumiya herself, provides a voice for a character in this anime. And the final thing that I absolutely love about this anime was its last episode. That last episode, guys, no joke, was near perfection. It is so well executed. Everything just worked so well for that episode. Not to mention the animation improved in that episode. It's the best animation in the entire series, as they had just so much lovely, breathtaking, and gorgeous artwork. Like, it literally looked fantastic. And the characters in that episode, they were just so likable. I liked them so much. The interactions among the characters were just so great. They had great chemistry, great banter, great dialogue. Everything about the last episode, guys. I can't emphasize how much I love that last episode, and I wish it could have gone on forever and ever. In fact, I would have loved for that to be like a solo movie. That's how good that last episode was. Now, the next part of this anime review is going to be a tad different, as it pertains to a question that was attached to the anime request made by Ivan. He wanted me to answer this question in the anime review, but in answering it, I would give away major spoilers for this anime, and I don't want to ruin the experience for those who have yet to see it. So, if you haven't seen this anime yet and don't want anything spoiled for you, please click this link right here, or go to this number if you're watching this on your phone, and you will bypass the entire spoiler section. For those who just don't care and just want to hear what I have to say, welcome.
On the wings of love, up and above the clouds, the only way to fly.
And thus ends the spoiler section of the review. And coincidentally, after saying all the things I said in the spoiler section, that now leads me to the problems that I found with this anime. My biggest issue with this anime, which I alluded to earlier, is actually the relationship between Koichi and Chiharu. It's weak, it's hollow, it's stale, it's boring, and I never once bought it. The characters in the relationship weren't that interesting or well developed either. They just came off as really bland. Never once did I feel a strong connection or a strong bond. I never felt like they were in love. Their relationship only got interesting after episode 7, even though you can't really say they were in a relationship after the events that occur in episode 7, but they as characters got more interesting after episode 7. Everything before that, forgettable. And there's not even a moment after the first episode where they actually spend some time and bond with each other so you can actually buy this relationship. That is so upsetting. What makes it such a big problem is it is kind of the main relationship of the anime. It's the one that gets the most focus. So it's supposed to be the one you're supposed to buy, but by the very end, I still never bought their relationship. And I don't think that they work well as a couple. And I know some of you might say, well, that was the point of the relationship. You weren't supposed to buy. They don't work well as a couple. But that rings so untrue to me. They put so much attention about him being in love with this character, and they put so much attention about her feeling kind of the same way. So you were supposed to buy some type of romance between them, but it just didn't exist. That's the truth. Another major issue that kind of branches off the first one were the first 3 episodes. They're god awful. Such a terrible, piss poor introduction to not only the series, but also to our main characters. In fact, the first 3 episodes almost killed my interest to continue watching the anime. That's how bad it was, people. They made our characters look like such dull, boring, cliche, pervy dipshits. Like the 3 main guys that you first meet in the anime, I mean, they were so cliche they almost remind me of the 3 fuckheads from Green. Thank goodness they get more development and they get more fleshed out as the anime goes on to the point where they're actually likable and charming. But those first 3 episodes, they were terrible, and their love interests were just as bad. My advice to those who plan to watch this anime after seeing this review, just watch episode 1, skip episodes 2 and 3, and continue from episode 4, because everything that happens in episodes 2 and 3 are irrelevant. They just don't add anything to the story or the characters. Skip it. They're terrible filler. The next issue that I found was that after establishing the strong relationships in the anime, there was a huge lack of follow-up after they become a couple. Like, you don't really get to see them really bond more after those individual episodes. And that disappointed me because I really liked those characters and their relationship, so I would like to see them go on dates and see what they're like after they actually become boyfriend and girlfriend. But again, there's just no follow-up. Like, there's this one relationship dealing with this girl named Aki and her love for this camera guy. And they get that one episode, it's really good, But then you never see them bond ever again after that. Like, there's no follow-up for their relationship. She talks about him now and again, but it's such in passing that it just disappoints you because you want to see it. The only romance story outside of the main one that actually got a follow-up episode deals with Koichi's friend Yoshi and his relationship with this girl named Natsue who he met through baseball. And even that was kind of a really weak follow-up episode, as that relationship isn't even the main focus of that episode. It's basically following Yoshi as he's bonding with this famous idol girl, and she's trying to meet her guy because she really wants to, and it kind of teaches Yoshi a lesson. I mean, I would have just loved to see Yoshi spend some time with Natsue. They had a really cute dynamic relationship. And hell, why do they get a follow-up and not Aki and the camera guy? And the last issue with this anime, which I can't necessarily hold against it because of the time it was made and possibly the budget that it had, but it still was really jarring to see, and that's the animation. It's really stilted and bland. I mean, yeah, sure, the character designs were decent, but some of them looked pretty ugly. The lines just looked really terrible. The perspective is just really off, and it just looked so still. It looked like it was lifeless, and I don't like animation that seems lifeless. The only animation that was ever good in this anime was its last episode. That animation was fantastic. Everything else before that, not that good. But again, I feel mean condemning the animation for this anime because, again, I don't know what their budget was. Maybe they had a really shit budget. And, you know, it was made in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we all know animation back then wasn't all that great. But I mean, come on. If Yu Yu Hakusho can look better than your anime, if Slayers can look better if Berserk looks better than your anime, you have a problem. But overall, I know I've been giving a lot of mixed messages when it comes to my review for Boys B. I started the review off saying that this might be one of the best and most refreshing romance animes I've seen in a long time, but it also seems like I had a lot of issues with it, a lot of problems with it. And although I do acknowledge that it still has a lot of problems, it doesn't detract from the fact that I still overall enjoyed this anime, and I love the dynamics of the relationships, I love the characters, and I love the direction that they take with their drama. It's really, really well done, and that last episode is just excellent. And it's because of those elements that it bumps this anime all the way up to a 4 out of 5 stars. I, for one, think that it is definitely a romance anime worth watching, especially if you're a fan of this genre. Just skip the first 3 episodes because they aren't that good. I mean, you kind of need to see the first episode because it establishes a lot of things, but skip 2 and 3, and then everything's gonna be golden from there, I promise you. But as always, what did you guys think of this anime? If you have seen it, did you love it to death? Do you think it's one of the best romance animes ever made? Or is it really boring, stilted, stale, you hate all the characters? And if you haven't seen this anime before, after seeing this review, do you want to see this anime? And also let me know, what is the most mind-blowing moment you've ever experienced in a romance anime? Comment below. Let me know. Got some more movie reviews, more anime reviews, all the usual stuff that I always say at the end of these videos. So stay tuned for all that. And until then, guys, if you would like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.